What's going on, guys, and welcome back to Top 10 Nerd. I'm your host for today, Taylor McWatters, and guys, there have been many romances within the Teen Titans. Some are great, some are awesome, like Nightwing and Starfire. Some people just belong together, or Wonder Girl and Superboy even. Great couple. Some just have the history and they work to make it work, like all great couples. But of course, there are a couple of couples and romances in the Teen Titans universe that fans have been kind of questionable over, to say the least. So here to count down our top 10 weirdest Teen Titans romances, I'm Taylor McWatters, you're you, let's dive in. Kicking off the list at number 10. Beast Boy and Raven. Okay, they say opposites attract, so when you put together an immature shape-shifting prankster with a half-demon sorceress, things are bound to get a little weird at some point. Fans weren't really sure why the two had it out for each other, being so different and all. See, everybody didn't really expect them to last. Even during their time together, readers found it just not that thrilling. The chemistry was just, dare I say, bland, or not as big as some other relationships. Like in the early 2000s cartoon, she's annoyed by Beast Boy. She doesn't like how he's immature and how he does pranks and how he doesn't use his indoor voice ever, and she found his comedy to be annoying. And then in season 4 of Teen Titans Go, episode 12, it shows Beast Boy writing a song to tell Raven how he feels about her. And then in episode 13, Beast Boy tours with the song, but it annoys Raven. So he's playing his heart out, and she's like, I don't know, not really. And before we continue on with this list, guys, if you haven't already, please go ahead down below and give us a thumbs up because it really does help the channel out a lot and it makes us feel good in our tummies. So please go ahead and do that if you haven't already. Thank you so much, and back to the list. Number 9. Jinx and Kid Flash. The Teen Titans show from the early 2000s, we saw Cyborg and Jinx flirting a lot while they were fighting. It was good, it was a nice little dynamic, keeping it real. They were fan favorites, and she was this villainous teenage sorceress who hit enemies with bad luck. And then in the episode Lightspeed, which aired in the final season, we see the introduction of Kid Flash. And in the same episode, this romance between him and Jinx was born, in the same episode, which in turn resulted in her switching over to the good side, which is great. Yay, go team. Like, that's a great win. But in one episode, with all that groundwork with Cyborg just kind of washed away, viewers weren't too pleased at the choices. Number 8, Aqua Girl and Static. Guess you can say there wasn't a lot of friction with this one. Static. Okay, yeah, you're right. Guys, love is all about timing. Maybe you bump into somebody at a coffee shop, maybe you hit it off then, and then Bob's your uncle. Or maybe you meet somebody when you're captured by the Terror Titans and you're forced to fight as gladiators in the Dark Side Club. Whatever your origin story is, I hope the love works out. Well, that's just the case for Static and Aqua Girl. See, when she got back to Titan's Tower, she decided to rejoin as a member with no other options really at that point. And she was getting along with these heroes as well, specifically Blue Beetle and Static. Like, she flirted a bit with Blue Beetle, but with Static, he was also a victim from the Dark Side Club, and they had a lot more in common because they're both kind of going through that together. You go through shit together, you get close. That's how it goes. He was also a victim from the Dark Side Club, and she convinced him to stay with the Teen Titans afterwards. So they had some history there, be it good or bad. So she convinced him to stay with the Teen Titans, although he had a family that was worried sick about him, and they were missing for like months, right? And the issue that fans recognized with this whole fling is that Aqua Girl was a flirt with the entire team, and it just didn't make sense for them both to share any affection with each other at this point. Number 7, Raven and Kid Flash. Raven needed help from the Teen Titans, but when she went looking for it, the team was not together at the time. So she enlisted the help of Kid Flash, whom she had a relationship with, and they were both able to convince the Teen Titans to get back together. Sounds like the perfect couple. Sounds like they're working it out awesome. Being able to put together a team of supers, like, that's hashtag couple goals right there. Only the thing was, they weren't really in love. Yeah. See, later it was revealed that Kid Flash's feelings were all part of the spell that Raven used on him. She manipulated his feelings, so of course, after that point, it's safe to say the trust between the two was a little bit jaded, a little bit weak. Number 6, Nightwing and Mirage. Miriam Delgado, aka Mirage, comes from the future. And in that future, she's together with Nightwing, who ends up not actually being Nightwing. So Mirage, Redwing, and others joined their forces and became the Team Titans. And the only way to defeat Lord Chaos was to travel back in time and take out his mother. The classic time heist go-to scenario. So they went back 10 years, but they ended up in a different timeline. Also, that's how time works. Never works. Classic time thing. Hey, you wanted this? Nope, now you're in the 50s. So they still went ahead with their plan anyways, and then Mirage thought it would be a smart idea to impersonate Starfire and try and get with the leader of the new Titans, Nightwing. See, that plan didn't work after all, but they ended up joining forces to take out Lord Chaos anyways. So Starfire during this time, of course, lost a lot of trust from Mirage. So she hooked up with who she thought was her future man, and Dick didn't even notice during this crazy night that it wasn't her. It's just, this is definitely one for the books. Number 5, Nightwing and Raven. Nightwing and Starfire were together for a while. They were members of the team, they got along, and they're probably one of the better couples. If we did a list about top 10 better couples, they would for sure be in that list. So they were about to get married. They were so close. They were literally right there at the altar when all of a sudden Raven showed up to destroy the wedding, even taking out the priest before he made it official. So Starfire and Dick ended up calling it after some time because Starfire felt like Dick wasn't really in it for the long run. And then Dick was kind of like, you're not wrong. So Raven and Dick were never a couple in the comics. This is an important note. So for her to come out all of a sudden and be attracted to Nightwing was just the writers trying to make Dick seem like a bigger catch at this point. Raven was just getting used to having emotions at this time, being fair, but when it came to keeping it cool around Dick, or rather Nightwing, but when it came down to keeping it cool, acting chill around Nightwing, she just couldn't get a grip, but everything else in her life she could control. She just had to ruin the wedding, eh? I mean, no dancing to shout, no white wine. Number 4, Kid Flash and Solstice. When Bart was captured and forced to serve a life of labor on a distant and lonely planet, Solstice, who at the time was in love with him, just head over heels, took out an agent of the functionary just so she could serve the same punishment and be with him. I remember one time in high school, I said I was part of this group that was slacking off. I got in trouble just so I could go to detention with them, or else I'd eat alone, you know? Ride or die, let's do it. So I get it, but I mean, these stakes were just, a tad higher. So Bart, Kieran, and Superboy decide to remain in the 30th century, and Bart and Solstice were trapped on the planet Takaran Galtos, forced to kill and survive. All the while, love just flows in the air between them. Number 3, Robin and Wonder Girl. This next one is absolutely insane. Okay, it's so gross as well. So after the death of Superboy in Infinite Crisis, Robin's plan was to try and replace him with a clone using Superboy's corpse. Now, of course, that was way easier said than done, and this failed over and over and over again. So Wonder Girl waltzes in and then sees Robin frustrated at these failures, and he starts to destroy all of these attempts of a clone. Then they both bonded over how upset they were at the loss of Superboy, and with all the remains of all these clones just strewn about, just squishing under their feet, they shared a kiss while a tear was coming down their face. Beautiful moment, definitely a beautiful moment to be like, hey, we're gonna get through this, like I miss him too. But like, you're standing on his spleen. You're standing on like 7 of his spleens, all these clones. I'd be like, hey, can we mop first? Like this is gross. I'm hearing squishy squishes while I'm trying to hug you. Can we please get a janitor? I mean, bonding over a death, sure, that's normal, but bonding over the death of somebody that's spilt around you, no way, we can't overlook that. Number 2, Beast Boy and Terra. She pops up in the 2nd season episode titled Terra, of course, when she's running away from a giant scorpion, which sounds like all my nightmares, sounds terrifying. Massive scorpions, no thank you. So the Titans, of course, come to the rescue, but help is not something she needed, really. Yeah, she was actually leading the scorpion into a trap where she would then use her powers to cause this stone bridge to collapse and take out this giant arachnid. And then when she introduces herself to the team, Beast Boy gets shy. He turns into a shy boy. He turns himself into a little turtle, which is something I try and do often. I'm like, oh, we got company. Back into my shell. This neck goes all the way into this hoodies when I'm nervous, when I'm a shy boy. And she loves it. She thinks he's hilarious. She thinks he's the cutest guy ever. Fair. So now Terra and Beast Boy are close. Beast Boy convinces Terra to stay with the team and train, but during that conversation by the water, Terra accidentally moves a rock that Beast Boy is sitting on, so now the secret is out. Terra cannot control her powers. The next day when she's being tested by the team on said powers, Beast Boy gives a few words of encouragement and she completes it. Perfect, love it. This sounds great so far, Taylor. What are you getting at? Does it get worse? This is number 2 for a reason. Then they receive a signal that Slade Wilson has returned and they track his location. So Beast Boy invites Terra. Terra's like, yeah, I'm ready to go. Clearly I passed this test, let's do it. So Terra ends up cornering Slade, and then Slade explains how the team will get rid of her once they realize she can't fully control her powers. He's playing the mind game, okay? But his whole pitch here is that he can surely help with that aspect. He can help her control the powers. So she tells him to hit the road, and then she becomes a full member. Now, during a rendezvous with Beast Boy, the couple cross paths with Slade again, and then Slade reveals that Terra had been a spy the whole time. And to make matters even worse, somehow, in the Judas contract storyline in the comics, one of the main reasons behind this betrayal was that she, at 15, and Deathstroke were in love. Let's go a little bit higher. Maybe like a lot higher, Deathstroke. I don't know. I mean, age is just a number. Sometimes that number is 15, and sometimes these storylines are pretty. And finally, number 1, Donna Troy and Terry Long. Of course, for number 1, we have to end on the worst couple of all time. So Donna married Terry Long, who was a college professor at the time, and he was in his 30s and was previously divorced. And Donna, again, age is just a number. She was 19 years old and in his class. Yeah, she was his student. He was the teacher. So, oof. So Terry was working a few jobs just to make ends meet, but he wasn't a great boyfriend while they were dating by any means. He hit on her friends numerous times and he used her to get some clout. They were married with a kid until a car crash was just written into the story, taking out Terry and his son, who would go on to become Lord Chaos. So yeah, get rid of a lot of that stuff. Let's just get rid of a lot of that stuff. Fans were not happy with this element of the story, and it's totally justified. And also, bonus points for him hitting on Starfire, and then Starfire also had a crush on him back while this was happening. It was just a mess. I feel like I was watching The Bachelor in Paradise, just ugh. Well guys, there you have it. Drop us a comment down below which of these romances are weird or not weird to you. Let us know your thoughts. I don't know, I think making out in a pile of your best friend's guts is a little bit odd, I'll say, to say the least. It's one of those moments that just kind of sticks in your head rent-free for like a few weeks. You're like, ugh, actually, that's gross. Imagine doing that. Guys, I've been your host, Taylor McWatters. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, keep washing those hands, keep reading those comics, and we'll see you on the flip or something like that. Peace out.